then they enter with confidence because they got it all. I don't know how they do, but me, I have to read it. My eyes were not really seeing well anymore. The adrenaline. I just saw a lizard.
I'm like, oh my God, help me.
I don't know if I'm shy, but yeah, of course I'm shy. Hello everyone, my name is Priscilla Akila. I am that medical doctor that is interested in making you learn, laugh, and love. And on this episode, I'll be talking about anxiety. Yes, let's dive right into it, okay? What is anxiety? Anxiety is that feeling. It's a mental health issue, and it can affect people of any age group, geographical location, people of any social class. It doesn't just happen to the poor, it can happen to anybody. I just want to make one disclaimer that anxiety is not something you should be ashamed of. It's something that you should voice out and seek help for, okay? And I'm not talking as someone who is no, I'm talking from a place of experience, okay? I know what anxiety has done to me. Alright, yeah. Anxiety is that mental state of having undue fear or apprehension about something. Somebody becomes very worried about certain things, and that affects them in so many ways, which could be emotional, it could be psychological, and even physically. That affects that person's daily life because that person will have so many issues like carrying out his or her responsibilities, and that is because of how it interferes with that person's activities. If you've been in those shoes before, you can tell that it can truly affect one's lifestyle, that person's relationship with other people out there, that person's delivery of his responsibility and duties. It is really an issue. There are different forms of anxiety disorders actually. They could be generalized anxiety issues, which could be generally fear of things. The person is always scared of everyday things, like sometimes he's not even sure why he's scared or anxious or worried, but the person is always perturbed about things that he doesn't even know. That is the generalized type of anxiety problems. And then we have panic disorders or attacks. They're like pangs of fear and worrisome emotions. And then the person could have specific fears for certain things, which we call phobias. Like you could hear people say, oh my God, no, I'm claustrophobic. No, I'm hydrophobic. And you still see them drinking water. That's by the way. They'll say I have phobia for this or for that, or open places. There's also a fear that has to do with like social gatherings and so on and so forth. But what really justifies these fears? Okay, the truth is we are all human beings, and whether we like it or not, there are times that we feel incapacitated. We're not able to feel up to the task sometimes, but the truth is there are actually ways to curb these feelings of fear. I just saw a lizard. I don't have anxiety. I don't have phobia for lizards, but I don't like reptiles. Oh my God. So this is just me telling you that I'm also human, okay? Alright. Yes. So people with anxiety disorders, okay, let me just give you an example of what happened to me when I was in medical school. So I was in 200 level. I went for this particular examination, and then I was very, very apprehensive. I was scared for my life. Okay, the thing is, I was to an extent very busy while I was in school. I had other extracurricular activities which I didn't really balance with my academic life. I was very into them, and at some point I became a bit distracted because I was not giving my books as much time as I should have. There were people that I met that told me things like, if I'm going to church, I'll make sure that when I come back, I'm going to give twice the time I spent in church to my books. And I'm like, wow, Priscilla, what have you been doing with your life? Okay, so the thing is, I was not really giving that time to my books, and I had fear, and my fear was valid because I was not reading. Okay, so there was actually a reason why I was scared. I wasn't prepared. So I was not having the confidence of facing my book as someone who had been reading his books. So in that case, you could realize, you'll find out that I was scared because I didn't do my own part. I didn't play my own game well. So that was why I was scared. So imagine that someone has prepared and all having some form of fear. You could say, yes, it's because it's the normal anxiety that comes with examinations or having to sit on a hot seat, and then you are You somehow require that motivation because you have that adrenaline rush that will help you, to bring forth the answers and all that. So that's on another level, okay? But my own fear was something else because I was sweating, I was very nervous. I was scared of facing that exam. When the exam papers were dropped on my table, like I was literally shivering. And when I held my pen, my hands were shaking. My eyes were not really seeing well anymore. That feeling is something that I don't like to describe because I don't want to know how it feels like again. But that was what I was having, and that kept on happening for almost 2 years, like straight up in my medical school. I faced that anxiety problem repeatedly when I was having an exam or test or whatsoever. And as I said, I was not really prepared for it, so that was why. So that is one aspect. So when someone has those kind of challenges, the person doesn't have control over his fears like that. But there are people, by the way, who don't read for exams or prepare, but then they enter with confidence because they got it all. I don't know how they do, but me, I have to read it. I have to do my part. All right, you get the point, right? But for someone who knows that I have to read before I do this, and you don't do it, you will definitely be scared for your life. Alright, so people who have anxiety could present with all of these things. It could range from emotional stress to psychological or even physical. So physically, the person will be sweating, having sweaty palms, shivering and all that, and that's because they are scared, like to their bones. And then for people who have some psychological problems, they may not be able to think straight. They could be distracted from what they are doing, and then breathing problems too. Person will be short of breath. Like for me, I don't know if I'm shy, but yeah, of course I'm shy. Maybe I'm not shy, and that's why I'm here. But then sometimes when I stand in front of the public to speak, I have some, shortness of breath. Like I feel a bit like my breath wants to finish. Like it wants to finish.
I'm like, oh my God, help me, Lord.
And yes, someone could have shortness of breath. It's one of the signs. So if you feel that way sometimes, it could be okay, like, yeah, I'm just bracing up for what's before me. Hopefully this will help me to be more organized and calm before my audiences. But if you do not have control of these feelings, right, they just throw you off. So you have to be careful to strike a balance between the adrenaline rush that will help you and the fear that will destroy you. These are some of the problems, and as I said, you shouldn't be ashamed of showing that, yes, I am a bit nervous, I'm scared of the situation. If you need help, speak to someone, okay? Speak to your friends, speak to people that you find as confident, speak to your doctor, like seek help. It can happen to anybody. It's not madness. Even if it is madness, people should not be stigmatized for their mental health conditions. We at one point or the other all have issues we are trying to solve. So problem to someone that is trying to find solutions to his or her problems. This is a world where we need so much love to be spread, and we will do much better. Just imagine it. And some of the things that birth fear in other people could even be other people. Like imagine that I want to do something, I want to take steps to do something, and then you just say something very, very off, something very, very discouraging, something that just makes me feel like I'm nobody, I'm nothing. We have to be careful of what we tell each other. Even if the person is wrong, know how to tell that person that he or she is wrong. Use the right words, understand the person's situation, understand the environment, study the person's demeanor at the time before you bring out something from your mouth. Like, think before you speak. Not everybody takes things lightly or easy. The person may just smile and think, oh yeah, it's cool. But behind the scenes, the person is in her blankets, crying out her eyes because of pains that she's going through. So we must do better for ourselves, okay? So anxiety is something that we can all deal with, and if we have a world free of anxiety, I tell you, we'll have more confident minds that are doing
groundbreaking things.
I want to leave you with a few questions. What do you think anxiety is? What have you perceived it to be? What are your experiences with anxiety? Have you been anxious before, and about what? And how do you think you can prevent that anxiety from happening in your life? How do you think you can help other people who have these anxiety problems? Do you think there could be solutions, permanent solutions to these problems? And if there are, please drop it in the comment section. Let's know what and how to help each other build this community. Let's get stronger together. And I'm glad that you're still here with me. Don't forget, always remain strong. Keep learning, keep living, keep loving, and laughing. See you in my next video.